I got the pan heating up. I'm gonna actually try to get some video of the browning of the beef. About 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or whatever oil you choose to use. You're going to want to have the beef out before you start this. Have the beef sitting by, because once this the brown sugar starts to go dark, you're going to have to move pretty quick. So I've got the oil heating up in there. About 2 tablespoons of oil. And we're going to do about a tablespoon of brown sugar. And what you're going to do is you're going to put the brown sugar in the oil and you're going to let it heat. You're going to caramelize the sugar a little bit. And like I said, once it starts going dark, it goes pretty fast, so you want to have the beef close by, ready to put in. Yeah, we're actually getting this. And you want to use a longer handled spoon. You don't want to have your hand down in here when you're putting the beef in, because it's going to spit. This is the cooking version of chicken, because if you let it go too far, it's going to burn. And it burns, once it starts getting dark, it's going to burn pretty quick. So it's a question of how dark you want to let it go before it burns. See, I'm already starting to burn there a little bit. Alright, I always chicken out. I let it go a nice dark mahogany. And that's about as far as I'm going to go. Put just a couple of handfuls in to start. Because if you pull the pot down too fast, the sugar is going to congeal. And you're going to let the brown sugar go dark, and then you're going to put the beef in. Yeah, see, I'm getting sugar sticking over in the side there. Okay, we're going to turn this down just a little bit. And we're going to put a lid on it we'll take a look at it in just a little bit. What we're trying to do is bring some liquid up in there. So, it's going to sit for a while with the lid on. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. There's a good amount of liquid that's sprung up in the bottom. What we're going to do with that is we're going to turn up the heat and cook that all off now. Just turn up the heat and let it bubble away, because it will eventually dry up. It'll take a little bit. So we're just going to let this sit and bubble away for a little while. I'll time it this time and see how long it takes. It's getting there. still got a little bit of liquid left, but as you can see, it is a lot less than it was. Wow, we're almost there now. And this is where my recipe diverges because, as I explained, I like one-pot meals, so I'm going to be throwing some pigeon peas in. And we're pretty much there. It's down to just the oil that we started with. That took about 12 minutes to reduce the liquid down. 12 minutes on high. I'm using a half a cup of pigeon peas. I soaked them. I didn't pre-boil them, but I did soak them. And I'm going to put in 2 cups of water. Because of the pigeon peas. They're going to absorb water. So there's 2 cups of water in. If you're just doing the beef, just put 1.5 cups of water in. Yeah, I'm going to add a little more because I forgot to rinse the marinade dish. That was just enough to rinse out the stuff that was left in the marinade dish. That's the water in. And now we're going to add the coconut in the coconut beef. It's a whole can of coconut milk, 13.5 ounces. And any kind of coconut milk will work, and if it's not exactly 13, a can of coconut milk, whatever coconut milk you can get. And here, I'm going to throw in a few sprigs of fresh thyme. And this time I'm going to go ahead and use the woody stems because I'm going to fish this out at the end. And this is where you would add the hot pepper if you had it, which, since this was kind of a spur of the moment thing, I don't have any actual hot peppers right now. What I do have is some dried Thai chili peppers. So I'm going to throw in a couple of those. Usually I would use a whole habanero and just float it and fish it out at the end. But since I don't have a habanero right now, we're just going to go with this. And I got the thyme out of my garden. That's my thyme. I actually had enough that I could cut. And I am going to add a teaspoonful of beef base. I'm using Better Than Bouillon this time. You can use Better Than Bouillon, you can use beef stock cubes. Either will work just fine. I like the Better Than Bouillon. I think it gives a little bit of a deeper flavor, but you can use stock cubes. Okay, my battery died and I had to change it out, but what we're going to do is I put in the beef base, and we're going to let it come up to a boil, and then we're going to turn it down to a simmer. This is editing me like months later. Annie, stop. Woof. Stop. Seriously, dog? Seriously. Okay. Okay. Trying to get my thoughts organized here. I just wanted to clarify that this is where my changes to the recipe start. The original base recipe for the coconut beef is just the beef. You brown the beef, put in the 1.5 cups of water, and save your marinade dish. Use the 1.5 cups of water to rinse out your marinade dish, dump that in, add in the coconut milk and the spices. And then you'd simmer that till the beef was tender and the sauce was the consistency that you want. That you can serve over rice. It's perfectly fine. I like a one-pot meal. I have done this with just the vegetables, and it's been fine. I add in either the pigeon peas or lentils. I've added in either pigeon peas, lentils, or garbanzo beans. If you can get the pigeon peas, fine. If you get them dried, if you use dried pigeon peas or lentils, you're going to want it added in when you put in the water and the coconut milk, because those are going to need to simmer for a while to soften up. You can find canned pigeon peas at some Walmarts, and most Save-A-Lots will have canned pigeon peas. If you want to do garbanzo beans, do canned garbanzo beans, because the dry garbanzo beans need a separate prep. They need to be soaked and simmered for a while to soften them up. So if you want to use garbanzo beans, go with canned. If you're using canned pigeon peas or canned garbanzo beans, you're going to want to drain the liquid out of the can and add it in with the vegetables. Okay, I let it simmer with just the pigeon peas and the beef, and then I added in the carrots and the celery. We're going to let this simmer till the carrots and celery are soft, and then we'll add the rest of the vegetables. This has been simmering for about half an hour. The carrots and the celery are getting close to being done, so I dumped in the peppers and the green onions. We're going to let those simmer down until they're soft. Once they're soft, everything will be done. We're going to let those simmer a little bit, and then if I need to, I'll add a little bit more water. And there we are, the finished bowl of my version of coconut beef. Once the peppers and the onions are softened, it's ready to eat. So, adjust it for salt at the end, and you're good to go. I'm happy. This is a good batch. Even though they're dried, the Thai chili peppers do give it a bit of a kick. You gotta be careful to pick them out. I'm still picking out thyme stems too, but it's worth it. I am a happy camper right now.